Okay guys, so this is going to be a really quick video. This is the 2010 state exams paper. It's paper 2 and it's question 3, so it's on the circle. Okay, so once you realize that you're going to be dealing with circle questions, probably a good thing to do is to open up on the log tables under coordinate geometry of the circle, and you'll see two formulas. You'll have x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, so that's something that might come in useful to you. And you'll have x minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared is equal to r squared. There's going to be other formulas there with maybe some g's and some f's, but they don't concern us. These are the only two that we work with. Okay, so you can be quite confident that the majority of, or certainly the early stuff that questions that you get asked will probably involve you using these formulas in some way, shape or form. So the first part of this question says that a circle has a centre 0, 0 and passes through this point. What's always a good thing to do maybe is just to get an idea perhaps of what's going on. So you've got an x and a y axis. This is only a rough sketch. You've got some circle and its centre is 0, 0. Not a great circle, but it'll do. Its centre is 0, 0 here, and it goes through the point 3, 4, so that'll be off up here somewhere. Okay. And what we're asked to do is find the equation of this circle. So I suppose that's where these two formulas come in. It's going to be, we'll either have to use x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, or we'll have to use the other one. In actual fact, they're both the same formula. If you're quite good at this, you'll realize that anything that has centre 0, 0 will always be x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So in actual fact, the only thing I need to find here is the radius. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The radius is really a length, or it's a distance between 2 points, the centre of the circle and a point on that circle. So if I label 0, 0 and 3, 4, x1, y1, x2, y2, I can use the distance formula, so that's going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 to be squared plus y2 minus y1 to be squared. So again, that's log tables. So tidying it up a little bit, taking your time. So x2 minus x1, so 3 minus 0 to be squared plus 4 minus 0 all squared. And you can type all that into your calculator in one go and you'll get 5. So the last thing for you to do now is, now that you know that the radius length is 5, you just need to pop it in here into your formula, but you do need to state the entire formula. So x squared plus y squared is equal to 5 squared, and if you left it like that, that's fine. Some people might choose to say x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. So that's your final answer for the A part. For the second part of the question, it says, find the coordinates of the 2 points at which the circle crosses the y-axis. There's different ways that you can handle this, but right now, I suppose the first way I think I'll do it is I'm going to again sketch this out reasonably roughly. So on an x and a y-axis, there's your x-axis, there's your y-axis. I know the centre is 0, 0, and I now know that the radius is 5, so I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, 3, 4, 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there'll be another unit down here. So this circle will go through each of these points. So here, 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 and here. And because we know what the radius is, we could actually work this point out. This point here is 5 on the x, 0 on the y. And this point back here is, we're going back down the negative side of the number line, so it's minus 5, 0. And this point here, well, we're staying in 0 on the x, we're not moving anywhere, we're not moving left or right on the x, we're just going straight up. So it's going to be 0, 5, and down here 0, minus 5. And in actual fact, we've just answered the question. It says find the coordinates of the 2 points at which the circle crosses the y-axis. So that would be here, so 0, 5, and here 0, minus 5. Algebraically you could do this question as well, taking the equation of my circle, x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. The x value will always be 0 when it crosses the y-axis, so I'm going to say let x equal to 0. So I'll have 0 squared plus y squared is equal to 25. In other words, that's just y squared is equal to 25. I'll get the square root of the other side. So square root of 25 is plus or minus 5. So if the x value is 0 from here, I'll put that with the plus 5, and then I'll put the 0 with the minus 5. So I'd get 0, 5, and 0, minus 5. I think the thing that maybe would catch people algebraically is the square root of 25. Very often people think that there's only one answer to that. When you're if I just asked you for the square root of 25, by definition there's only one answer. However, when it's in equation form like so, there's always two answers, plus or minus. Okay, so there's one last part of this question. You can see that this circle doesn't have its center on 0, 0, so 0, 0 is back down here. Circle has center 2, 4 and touches the y-axis, so we can see that there. We know at this point we might just fill it in, 2 and 4. Find the equation of the circle. So again, we're back talking about equations of circles, so it's going to be one or the two of these. But hopefully you know this one is for when the center is 0, 0, which means for this last part of the question, this is the formula that's going to dominate. So I'm just going to write that down. X minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared is equal to r squared. H and k is just the center, and you'd have learned in class that when you're popping it in, you just make sure you change the two signs. So the start of this will be x minus 2 to be squared plus y minus 4 to be squared is equal to, and our only objective then, or the only thing that we have to try and do is find the radius. So there's I suppose there's several different ways to find the radius. That's usually a length, so we could use the distance formula. And if you have a look here, this is this point here. That point there is 0, 4. So you might decide you're going to label this x1, y1 and this x2, y2 and use the distance formula. Distance formula again, so pretty much the same thing as you did in part A. There's the distance formula just there, so you'll reuse it and pop it in. But you might also spot, well, if I just join that line there to there very straight, if I create a little rectangle out of that, so straight down, I can actually see that that radius length just corresponds to 2 units down on this axis. So the radius is actually 2. So I'm going to take that value of 2, I'm going to pop it in there, so I'll have 2 to be squared. And if you wanted to finish it off then, it's up to yourself. X minus 2 to be squared, y minus 4 to be squared is equal to 4 squared, sorry, just 4, not 4 squared, is equal to 4. There's no need to square out either of these brackets. And that's it.